Welcome, everybody. We have Kelli Etheridge here from Reusables Vancouver Island. How you doing today, Kelli?
I'm great, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So why don't you start off, Kelli? What do you guys do over at Reusables Vancouver Island?
Yeah, we're a reusable takeout container service.
Mhm.
So we launched last September, and we basically offer stainless steel and silicone containers for
Okay.
takeout purposes, so to the restaurants and to the customers. So people have an alternative to single use.
Absolutely. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's really interesting. What got you started in this industry and this company?
I think I always really cared about the waste, and I found that even pre-pandemic that I wasn't really interested in getting takeout because I felt terrible about the waste. You know,
Mhm.
the pile of containers it seems to accumulate at the end of the meal.
For sure.
So I kind of stopped getting takeout for a long time because of that and tried to do more dine-in and stuff like that. But then the
Absolutely.
pandemic hit, and then it really drove home the necessity of having an option where people could choose to reuse essentially and not have to go with the wasteful option.
For sure. For sure. And
Yeah,
how long have you been running your company for?
we started in September of 2021
Okay.
here in Nanaimo, and we've expanded into other communities across the island since then.
Awesome. And how exactly does your service work? Do people just purchase the containers off you? Do you supply to restaurants or kind of a mix of both?
Yeah, so it's nobody has to buy them. Um, the users need to sign up for the app, and that's basically how we track the containers. So um, the restaurants are supplied with the containers, and if you're a customer, let's say you go in there and you request your takeout in reusables, you get the containers. They assign it to you via the app. Every customer has a unique code, and then they're in your inventory essentially, and then you have 2 weeks to return them, and you can return them to any location. So
Oh,
anywhere
wow.
we have a partner, whether it's in the same community or another community on the island, people can return them wherever they want,
Oh,
close to work,
interesting.
close to home, and really that's how it works. So we try to equate it. Probably the closest model is like a library book borrowing system.
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
you're just borrowing it, you can take it back to a different branch if you want, and that's sort of how it works.
For sure, for sure. And what type of, I guess your general clientele would be like the everyday consumer, I guess, correct?
Really, I think anyone, but I think probably the people that are picking up on it first are people that are very concerned about the environment,
For
and
sure.
those of us who feel really guilty at the end of a meal with all the packaging piling up. So that's it. And people that want to enjoy takeout, and support the restaurants, which they really need the support right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like that's such a it's so interesting to hear, especially for myself being in this industry, hearing all the different innovative ways that business owners are coming up to help out and reduce on waste more. So, like I just saw some sunglasses the other day that were for sale, and they were made from waste that was taken out of the ocean, and I was
All
like, oh,
right.
that's incredible. Yeah, and apparently it was this entire autonomous machine that they'd made that is just automatically collecting all the garbage on its own, and then they filter it through and run it through processing and make sunglasses out of it. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting to see all the different uh, strategies and stuff that business owners are coming up with. I guess since you guys started, it was September of 2021, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty, I guess we were still in kind of COVID land there.
Yeah.
What kind of business changes or considerations did you guys have to make as you were kind of navigating through lockdowns and pandemics and stuff like that? Like, is there a lot of like person-to-person contact with your business in terms of you guys and I guess moving the containers to wherever they need to go, or?
Yeah, somewhat. We do have to distribute and redistribute containers.
Mhm.
So that is a part of it. I'd say probably the biggest thing is just easing the public's mind that this is a very safe option.
Yeah.
They're getting cleaned and sanitized, properly according to health authorities and BC CDC. So people should feel very secure in that. It's just like going to a restaurant and dining with their
Cool.
plates and
Yeah.
cutlery. It's that safe. So yeah, I think that was probably the biggest hurdle just because it was a very new concept for people.
For sure, for sure. I don't think I've ever heard of a company doing something like that before. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why hasn't anybody done that before?
Yeah, we definitely aren't the first. We're actually inspired by other people doing it. Toronto, there are companies doing it, and throughout the States, and Europe is very big on it as well.
Oh, really?
Usually,
Okay.
yeah, so it does exist. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure.
And is this the first business you've ever had yourself, or were you a business owner previously?
No, I've had other businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
My current Reusables partner, Jennifer, Leslie, and we had a cooking school prior to
Oh, lovely.
this.
Cool.
That unfortunately did not survive the pandemic.
Mhm.
But we're both nutritionists and we both care a lot about people's health. So the other aspect of this is decreasing waste, but also giving people a really healthy place to put their food, because plastic
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
even
Yeah.
the compostable options can be very hazardous to our health.
For sure, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I actually hadn't even, I come from a pretty strong health and wellness background. I didn't even think about that. I've been thinking
Yeah.
about the idea since you mentioned it, but that's so interesting and very true as well. What would you say are some of the now you mentioned that you guys had of course changed and keeping the public aware of like how safe this is and etc. What kind of considerations that you guys made or changes throughout the pandemic have you kept because you just found it to be a either better way to do business, it was setting your customers more at ease, it was more profitable? Any changes like that you made to your business?
Yeah, recently we've originally people had to be a member of Reusables to use
Yep.
it, and now we've just recently introduced a pay-per-use option for people that maybe just want to try it out, or they they don't get takeout very often, they're light users, so, or they're visiting, great for
Yeah.
tourists. So we want to give everybody really good options, so that's one of the new things we've come up with, really trying to service all aspects.
For sure. And in terms of getting new, I would say members or subscribers to your service, the more people trying it out, has it been mostly like word of mouth, social media? Is it getting in touch with restaurants so they can help promote the idea when their own customers come in? What's been kind of the more effective route for you? What you guys are?
Yeah, definitely social media has been one of our biggest tools.
For sure.
And then having the restaurants really promote it, get behind the idea and talk to people. One of our top restaurant that has the most reuse is a local curry restaurant, Curry Culture here in Nanaimo. And they talk to people when they come in. They explain it, they remind people that it's an option when they're getting their takeout. And so that's really translated into a lot of new reusers.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Awesome. And I like you said, you've had we were kind of talking about before, you have quite an experience of time as a business owner. What would you say, Kelly, has been kind of your biggest learning lesson since you've been a business owner?
Definitely that behavior change is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
We thought people would just be more enthusiastic and more gung-ho, but I feel like while the pandemic necessitated this kind of service,
Yeah.
people kind of lost their concern of it during the pandemic, and it kind of normalized single use in a really tragic way, honestly. So we feel like we're trying to make reuse the norm, changing behavior and changing attitudes, and that's probably a more difficult process than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good point. And when you first said that, I thought you were talking about like internally as business owners, like for us to change our habits. Consumer behavior change is absolutely difficult. I spent a lot of time working with personal trainers and gym owners, and that's a lot about building great healthy habits in your
Yes,
clients
for
and your
sure.
members. Absolutely. And that's a journey. You need to build in. It really takes a lot of time connecting with them, finding what their needs are, and the most effective way in communicating with them around those needs. And then you obviously there's a habit building portion of it as well, just people get used to it. And yeah, that is behavior change is definitely it's a long-term strategy. It's nothing you can do short-term, for sure.
No, I think we've learned that very well this last almost year.
Is there any like interesting strategies or anything you guys are trying to maybe promote people to using more of the reusables? Like you mentioned social media.
Yeah, social media, we're trying to work with like different organizations such as Surfrider. They've been very helpful in like Tofino. We've joined local chamber of commerce,
Yeah, absolutely.
organizations and groups, Synergy Foundation out of Victoria, things like that, that, we feel like those people are in touch with the people that are going to be our, first wave of reusers. So
For sure.
that's been a really strong strategy.
Absolutely. And one thing that we found even in business coaching is a lot of the time when it comes to habit change or adjustment, and when people don't do it, it's not because they're thinking nefariously or I don't want to do that. It's just because they forget, right? It's mostly just keeping it top of
Yes.
mind. So sometimes it's just, they need, that's where I love social media so much, because if you have an app like Twitter, for example, you can tweet out like 300 times a day. Nobody's going to be like, why are you tweeting out so much? But
Yeah.
you can have even Instagram to a degree and stuff like that. Like those constant reminders can
Yes.
keep you top of mind for your members, community, for your clientele, so that they, continually use that service as they want to, which is phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. Any offers or any, what's the best place for people to kind of check you guys out if they want to, see reusables and maybe try it for themselves, Kelly? Or maybe you should mention which cities you guys are in as well.
Sure. Yeah. We are here in Nanaimo. That's where we began, because we live locally in Lanceville.
Mhm.
We then went to Tofino. So
Nice.
we are on the West Coast, and Ucluelet as well now, Port Alberni. So you can do the whole corridor from here to there. And as well we have a few locations in Victoria. But I just want to say our partners in Vancouver, they have something like 45 locations. We have about 22 on the island here.
Nice.
So if you sign up and register on the app, you can use it anywhere. So you can use it at anywhere reusables are available.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And what's is the app called Reusables?
Reusables, yeah. So if you just went to your App Store or Google Play Store, you can just find it there and download it. Just check it out and see what it's all about. Our website is probably the best place to find, sort of overall information about us, and that's reusablesvi.com. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well, so you can find us there.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we'll include your info below in the card too, so people can check you guys out. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
And the last question for you today, Kelly, what would you say is most inspiring to you today?
I would say the restaurants that are really, and the communities that are really getting into sort of protecting the environment and reducing waste. I'd say Tofino and Ucluelet are probably continually inspirational. They are brave when it comes to bans. They've banned, bags, which is great, a great start.
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of communities stop. They've done straws, they've done styrofoam, and now the most recent one is plastic and bioplastic utensils, and
awesome.
They're in discussions to do more. So they're not afraid of change, and really they care a lot because the ocean's right in their backyard, and they're all very they're very inspired. So we see that right down to the individual businesses, like coffee shops using fettuccine pasta for stir sticks, and all these crazy things, because they just don't want the waste. Like, they live it. They don't just want to do it, for greenwashing purposes. They really care. And so that makes us care more and want to expand this even further.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that kind of relates to your earlier point there with behavior change. I guess when you're right, when it's right in your backyard, when the environment is right there, it's pretty easy to keep it top of mind too.
Yes, for sure.
100%. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly. Really appreciated it. And like I said, we'll include all your info for everybody to check you guys out.
Thank you so much.